Bengaluru, 2007. Inside a small apartment, there are two engineers, two laptops, and an idea that almost no one believes in. This is a story about what happens when ambition meets chaos in one of the toughest markets in the world.
They had no safety net, no investors. The market itself seemed designed to make them fail, and yet, within a decade, these two would build a company that would stare down Amazon itself and somehow win the heart of a nation.
It all started with just one idea. An idea so simple, it was almost laughable, but it held the power to change everything.
That was the question. That was the whole thing. What if a regular person in India could have the same simple, trustworthy experience buying something online as anyone in the West? It sounds so basic now, but back then, that question was the start of a revolution.
So who were these guys? Before they became legends in the startup world, they were just two people betting everything they had on an idea nobody else could see. Let's go back to the beginning.
Sachin and Binny Bansal. And no, they're not related, just a brilliant coincidence. Both were graduates from the legendary IIT Delhi. And here's the crucial part. Both had worked at Amazon. They had seen the e-commerce machine from the inside. They knew how it worked, and they knew exactly why it was failing in India.
They didn't start with millions from big investors. They started with 4 lakh rupees. That's about $6,000 US. With that and a couple of laptops, they quit their safe, well-paying jobs at Amazon to build a company they called Flipkart. The name was intentional. They wanted to completely flip how India shopped.
In those early days, there were no fancy offices, no big marketing campaigns. It was just long nights, probably a lot of bad coffee, and one single colossal problem that stood between their dream and any chance of reality. Their idea, selling books online, seems simple, right? Well, the execution was anything but. Because in 2007, there was this one giant barrier to any kind of online business in India. You have to understand, the internet in India was slow back then. Payment systems were clunky, and the very idea of typing your credit card details into some random website felt incredibly risky. So how do you build an online store when nobody trusts you enough to pay you online? Faced with this brick wall, Sachin and Binny did something completely unthinkable, something no tech guru would ever advise. They decided to get their hands dirty. Literally. They got on their own bikes and delivered the books themselves. They'd show up, hand over the package with a smile, and then they'd collect the cash by hand. That's it. This wasn't just some delivery method. This was the birth of cash on delivery, an idea born out of pure necessity that didn't just save their little company, it built the foundation of trust that would unlock the entire Indian market for years to come.
And that one simple human solution? It was the spark that ignited an absolute explosion of growth, turning these two scrappy underdogs into national champions.
And their rise was just meteoric. By 2011, they weren't just selling books anymore, they were selling everything. But then, in 2013, the real test came. The giant arrived. Amazon officially launched in India.
This was it. The ultimate David versus Goliath story. On one side, you have Amazon, with its deep pockets and global playbook. But on the other, you have Flipkart, with something Amazon couldn't just buy. A deep, intuitive understanding of the Indian customer. They fought back with local innovation, and they won hearts.
And the results were just staggering. By 2016, that little company that started in an apartment with a few $1,000s, it was now valued at over $15 billion. The underdogs weren't just surviving, they were winning.
But every great story has a final act, and the absolute peak of their success was about to come at a price that no one could have imagined.
In 2018, the American retail giant Walmart came knocking. They acquired Flipkart for a colossal $16 billion. It was a moment of absolute historic triumph.
And let's put that in perspective. This wasn't just a big deal for India. At that moment, it was the largest e-commerce deal in the history of the world, a stunning validation of their dream on the global stage.
The headlines screamed victory, but behind the scenes, a different, much more complicated story was unfolding. Was this the ultimate win, or was it the end of an era?
And here it is, the real cost of that victory. With the Walmart deal, Sachin Bansal walked away from the very company he had poured his entire life into. Binny stayed on for a bit, but he too quietly departed. The two founders who had started it all were now gone from their own creation.
So, the founders had left the building,
But what they created and the impact it had was here to stay. So what is the real legacy of Flipkart?
Well, their story became more than just a business case study. It became proof. Proof that world-changing ideas don't have to come out of Silicon Valley. It showed that an Indian startup could dream on a global scale and then actually deliver on that dream.
You know, what their journey really shows us is that you don't need millions to start something incredible. What you need is conviction. It proves that when unwavering belief meets relentless action, you can challenge even the biggest giants. They didn't just wait for a revolution to happen. They went out and built their own.
Today, Flipkart is a household name, delivering to every corner of India, a living testament to a dream that started in a small apartment. Their story isn't just about building a company, it's about building belief. And it leaves all of us with one final inspiring question.